the mill at Bosch. Over the centuries, a hell of a lot of flour has been ground up in there.
Holland is famous for its mills, of course. It's a classic Dutch site. You find them everywhere.
Rembrandt's father was a miller, and he did well from it. The Dutch eat a lot of bread, so keeping them fed is a prosperous business. Where would we be without bread? As the poet Robert Browning once said, "If thou tastest a crust of bread, thou tastest all the stars and all the heavens." So most of the time, bread is one of life's great joys, but sometimes it isn't. Occasionally, bread brings you closer to death and makes you see things.
In Bosch's time, Europe was hit by an epidemic of ergotism, otherwise known as St. Anthony's fire. Now, St. Anthony's fire was a horrible disease caused by eating rye bread. There was a fungus that grew on rye, and it caused ergotism.
When ergot-infected grain was milled and consumed, it became poisonous and dangerous. And that's not all. When the ergot mould was baked in an oven with dough, it turned into a form of lysergic acid diethylamide, better known to all you hippies out there as LSD. People suffering from ergotism began to convulse, and their minds filled up with hallucinations. In Colmar, in the chapel of a former hospital that specialised in ergotism, the great German master Matthias Grunewald has left us a masterpiece in which he describes the effects of St. Anthony's fire. Even Jesus himself is suffering from the terrible disease.
So ergotism was real and terrifying, and people who suffered from it had mad hallucinations. So it's been suggested that Bosch too was a sufferer, and that what we see in the Garden of Earthly Delights are hallucinations induced by ergotism. But something else ergotism does is restrict the flow of blood to your extremities. So people with the disease would develop gangrene. Their toes and fingers would fall off. So if Hieronymus Bosch had ergotism, he wouldn't have had enough fingers left to paint all his pictures.
So he wasn't a dopehead, and he wasn't suffering from St. Anthony's fire. One thing that's certain about Bosch's masterpiece is that its motivation is religious. It has to be.